All characters appearing in this work are fictional. Any resemblance to real persons is unintentional. This video features the Integrative Screener version 2.0. The Integrative Screener version 3.0 is the most current version and is available for use. Some features of version 2.0, portrayed in this video, have changed. Please refer to the brief and full user guides for further specifics, available on our website, communitycollaboration.umbc.edu, or contact our center.
Welcome to the No Wrong Door Integrative Screener training. Today we're going to really talk a little bit about brief interventions and referrals and show you how to use the screener to kind of foster those brief interventions and referrals. We'll review the client responses using the feedback sheets. We'll discuss the health problems, and I'll show you the feedback sheets, the interview page, and then there is a client summary sheet that we'll also talk about at the end. We begin the feedback sheets, and I think this would be a good thing for you to do in terms of beginning any feedback with resilience factors. So on this particular feedback sheet, you get the demographics, but you also then can see the resilience factors. And you want to highlight if people have good support systems or good self-esteem. If they don't have some of these resilience factors, or if they're low in those resilience factors, so below the black line, you want to kind of talk to them about the issues of support and how that may mean that they need additional support or scaffolding by programs around, or maybe even some residential kinds of care, depending on where you go from this. In the physical health domain, the feedback really focuses on how they feel about their health and pain. So if you see high indications of pain, so if it's up at the black line or above the black line on this feedback sheet, you want to kind of see if we can connect them, either reconnect them to the doctor that they have, because you have that information, or try and get them into physical care, so basically into their primary care. So that's the next step that you would do, obviously still talking first about readiness before you make that referral. The next sheet in terms of feedback focuses more on the mental health. So mental health really has both anxiety and depression, and also focuses on suicidality, so anybody who's reported suicidal ideations in the past or currently, and also trauma. So if they're at or above some of those black lines in terms of this graphic, you want to talk to them about a mental health referral and discuss with them some of the concerns they have about their mental health before going into the readiness piece. The next piece on the scales that we give you is really about substance use. So in the substance abuse area, we cover all the different substances of abuse, including tobacco. So if someone's high on the tobacco scale, it means they're a smoker and that they could use treatment. We also cover non-prescription use of prescription medications, substance use, and alcohol. So if you see folks high in each of these areas, you need some kind of a substance use referral. The other thing that's in this particular chart is really focusing on sex-drug-linked behavior. So if individuals have endorsed that they're using substances while kind of engaging in sexual behaviors or in sexual risk behaviors, then you want to think about having a risk reduction strategy, talking about getting sexual risk reduction counseling. So those are the areas that we focus on for the substance use. Next, the feedback focuses particularly on this HIV risk and infectious disease risk. And so what we have here is feedback about sexual risk behaviors, other risk factors, like if they're coming out of prison or other kinds of things. And so you focus here on asking them about their risk behaviors and their concerns about their risk behaviors. And again, hoping to get them either or getting into testing and getting them into some sexual risk reduction counseling, or getting them into sexual health in recovery kinds of programming. But focusing first on the readiness to do something about that before you make the referral. The next piece is really focused more on testing, and really focuses on whether the individual has received HIV testing recently, whether it was positive or not, are they in care? You get to know something about their HIV history of testing. We also focus on STIs because those are risk factors that contribute to HIV or make them particularly vulnerable to HIV. And there are also consequences of substance use. So we ask about all the different STIs, but you also ask and you get feedback about whether they have received testing for TB, Hep C, Hep B, and then were they positive in the past, and then do they need testing now? So the report actually gives you the information using our scoring algorithms to tell you where this person needs to go in terms of the testing piece. And this is another area that you talk with them about in terms of referrals. So when you're using this feedback in all of these different areas, this is where you use the flow approach. So use the particular graphs to help work on the feedback that you give the particular client. So sometimes even showing them the graphs is a very dramatic portrayal of what they've been saying to you and how they filled out the screener, and can be motivating. So if you show them the graphs and then talk to them and you say, it sounds like or looks like you really have some high risk around depression, anxiety, and mental health concerns. What do you make of that? What are you thinking about that? And so then you sit back and you listen to what they've said, and you get some sense of where they are in terms of those concerns before you move to making a referral and assessing readiness. So listen first and then do that. The next step then would be assessing their readiness in each of these areas of risk that are highlighted by the screener. So you would take each of those areas, look at the feedback and the graphics that are related to those areas, listen to their what they think about in that area, and then go and ask, how ready are you to do something about this on a scale of 1 to 10? And so the idea then is for each of the ones that are checked, you would then go to the next step and ask them about readiness before you would talk to them about agreeing to a referral and making that referral. So again, here's where you think about the readiness and incorporating it into the flow by looking at what's the number. So if they give you low numbers, then they're less ready. If they give you high numbers, then they are more ready to do something about this particular problem. And if they're low, you want to do more of a brief intervention, as was talked about in the last video. If they're high, you want to really work on keeping the motivation and getting them committed to taking action and doing something to take the referral. Just because someone has risk doesn't mean you automatically make referral. You need to make referral based on the fact of their readiness and their agreeableness to take the referral. And then you make a more effective referral in that way. So that's the idea behind using the screener. We can also have some space here where you actually talk about or ask about whether they've actually had previous mental health or substance abuse treatment, because if you're going to make a referral, you want to know what has happened to them in the past. So make sure you check that before you talk about mental health and substance abuse treatments. There's also some space for some other notes that you may have made as you're doing the interview, and those will come up there in terms of looking for this particular client and give you some feedback that you could use in your discussion with them. So the final thing that I want to talk to you about is the client summary sheet. In the Excel version of the Integrative Screener, there is a tab where you can look for the client summary sheet. And what it does is print out all the things that the client has said in terms of their risk factors in third grade language. So basically it's very kind of simply describing that. And so you get at the beginning kind of the areas of resilience, you get some of the risk factors that they've talked about and some of the words that might really characterize those risk factors. And you also get where the individual has screened positive for any particular risk area. The final thing you can do with this is you can actually then write in what the referrals are. So this is a take-home page for the client that you could write in the referrals and give it to the client. We suggest if they're going to take it from you that you only put like either initials or first name or something on it in case they lose it, so that this sensitive information doesn't get laying around with all of their names and identifying information on it. So that's how you would use the client summary sheet. Now, what we're going to show you next is really a demonstration of how to put all of this together.